senators pushing for a bipartisan relief bill is Rob Portman of Ohio. I spoke with him this afternoon on Capitol Hill. Senator Portman, on stimulus, where is the sweet spot on compromise? And are you convinced that the Biden team is serious about a bipartisan action?
Well, Shep, I was really glad to see the president's speech at the inaugural saying he wanted to work across the aisle and, break through some of the partisan gridlock that has gripped this town. But the way they're handling COVID-19 is contradictory to that, because they've sent up a big package, $1.9 trillion, only several weeks after we passed a $900 billion package, which was the second biggest appropriation ever in the history of the Congress. And it hasn't been implemented yet. Only probably a third of the money has gone out. So I think that's concerning. And then more concerning, frankly, for me, is that they are talking about doing it under a process where it would be done strictly with 50 votes rather than 60, meaning with Democrat votes only, if it could be done. I think that's a mistake, too, because I think it puts us on the wrong foot going forward for this administration.
On impeachment, sir, you said that the former president's actions on January 6th were inexcusable, that he bears some responsibility for the insurrection that took place that day, and yet you voted against going ahead with the impeachment trial. He incited that crowd. We watched it. So what's the correct punishment?
Well, there should be some consequence, I believe. And by the way, the vote was on whether to table a constitutional issue. And I think the constitutional issue needs to be addressed and not tabled and not set aside. And so, I'm going to, as a juror, I will be listening to both sides. But we have to address the constitutional issue and the precedent that this would set. So if you look at the Constitution, as it's easy to do because there aren't many sentences about impeachment, it's about removal. And this is a private citizen now, Donald Trump, not a president.
But Senator, with respect, under that logic, you could wait until the last minute, resign, and move forward. You've said that there should be consequences. Yeah. What should they be?
Well, I will also tell you, though, Chef, because you're talking about that precedent, think of the precedent of saying that Republicans can go after President Obama or President Clinton, or Democrats can go after George W. Bush as private citizens. We're
avoiding the issue at hand.
Yes.
You've said that he bears some responsibility. What is the appropriate punishment? We all watched what he did.
Yeah. Well, one appropriate consequence is people to speak out, as I have very clearly, before, frankly, and during and after. And I think that's important also that the House has acted, so there has been consequence in that way. The impeachment is something I'm going to decide once I hear from both sides, as I have said consistently. I haven't made my mind up, but I think we have to look at the constitutionality of it because it sets a precedent that would be dangerous going forward.
The rise of and amplification of white supremacy is a serious problem in America. It's pushed forward in some conservative media. The Department of Homeland Security just put out a first-of-its-kind alert about domestic terrorism concerns. What can be done about this enormous problem, and who can lead?
Well, the new Department of Homeland Security Secretary, because I think we need somebody to head up that agency right now for a number of issues. COVID-19, obviously, what's happening in terms of the cyber attacks, including the most recent, probably Russian-backed cyber attack that was massive. But also this issue you're talking about with domestic terrorism. And it is on the right and it's on the left. I think it's appropriate the Department of Homeland Security provide a way to provide information to people that is timely and accurate as a response to it. And, I think they are the entity that should probably be taking the lead here.
Senator, you've made the decision to leave the Capitol. What will you miss, and what are you so glad to have in your rearview mirror?
I will not miss the politics and the partisanship, and that's gotten more difficult over time. I'll miss the opportunity to pass legislation that actually helps the people I represent. Hopefully, on the outside, I'll be able to continue to contribute on those issues. Sometimes, Shep, these days, more is going on outside of Washington in those policy areas than inside this Capitol.
Senator Portman, for your time and your service, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Shep. Appreciate it.